I talked to him before the game. He said he feels okay, definitely sore, but he feels he can make all the throws and go with it. That's it from here. Let's go back up to Dick Stockton.
I wonder if Ron got that from the Illinois Medical School campus nearby.
I just hope
spinning his way beyond the 30-yard line. So the Chicago Bears struggling offensively, and Darryl pointed out why. The offensive line, Mark Colombo, Mike Gandy, starting their third games. Tevin Dawkins is starting at right guard for Chris Valerio. So that is a patchwork offensive line. Anthony Thomas, career low, 18 yards last week against Minnesota. Marty Booker having a top year, and John Davis as well as the tight end Fred Baxter returning to the lineup. We have a flag thrown at the kickoff line at the 30-yard line. And it was offsides called against the Philadelphia Eagles. Decline. So here is Jim Miller, who has 10 touchdown passes to his credit. Beginning from the 32-yard line, throwing on first down, getting the pass rush, incomplete to Anthony Thomas. And Brandon Whiting comes storming in. And this Philadelphia defense has not allowed a touchdown against their 4 NFC opponents. Hugh Douglas, the great pass rusher, Darwin Walker with an extension on his contract, Simon and Whiting on the other side. Sean Barber, Levon Kirkland, Ike Reese starting at linebacker in place of the injured Carlos Emmons, and the brilliant secondary led by Troy Vincent and Brian Dawkins at safety. 2nd and 10, Booker in motion, and the pitch to Anthony Thomas, turning the corner. He breaks a tackle and picks up 5 yards. All is said and done. Ike Reese in there to make a stop. So already the Eagles missing a tackle. And 3rd and 5 coming up.
The guy who missed that tackle, Brian Dawkins, you don't expect to see that, but here's a stat that you don't want to see if you're the Chicago Bears offense. You like to get off to good starts. They have punted on every opening series this year. It's so important for a team, especially when they're struggling like the Bears are, to have something positive early in the football game.
3rd down and 5, 3 wide receivers, and the Eagles 2nd in the league on 3rd down defense. Booker came in motion toward the line, and the pass not even close, and covering was Bobby Taylor on Marty Booker. So once again the Chicago Bears will kick as Hugh Douglas comes limping off the field.
One of the things they wanted to do was grab Hugh Douglas's attention all afternoon. You see him getting a big push right there on Mark Colombo. The only thing he can think of is maybe a little bit of a tweak on the hamstring, because it didn't look like anything bothered him during the course of that play.
Well, that bears watching as Brad Maynard on a crazy snap gets off the kick, and it is a bouncer that's picked up by Brian Mitchell. And Mitchell, one of the outstanding return people in NFL history, brings it out close to the 40. So that was a 35-yard punt. The Eagles offense, Trey Thomas, John Welborn playing well despite the fact that he still is hurting. Fraley, Jermaine Mayberry, and John Runyon make up the rest. Deuce Staley coming off a brilliant game. He has gained 100 yards in the last 2 for the Eagles. First down for the Eagles on the 39-yard line. So Donovan McNabb, Chicago native, and had 50 tickets for his friends and family, coming back to the Midwest. Brian Westbrook with 3 receivers is the back, and the quick out to Deuce Staley, who lines up as a receiver, and Staley picks up 4 yards. Bears defensively, and they have not been staunch against the run for good reason. Christian Peter is starting at tackle. The rookie Alex Brown at end. They missed Ted Washington more than anyone will admit. Bobby Howard again at the outside linebacker. Urlacher is the star of this team. Colvin is the pass rusher. R.W. McQuarters returns to the starting lineup. Bears have not had an interception since week 2. On 2nd and 6, Deuce Staley gets stuffed, and he'll lose 2 yards.
You mentioned the fact that Ted Washington is not in the lineup. What that has done for offenses is they like to attack between the tackles now. They want to get downhill, get right at Brian Urlacher, negate his speed from sideline to sideline. But the thing that stops that is penetration. You see all the Chicago Bear defenders getting their gaps filled, and here comes Brian Urlacher to make the tackle.
Brian Urlacher, and He's had a tougher time this year without the imposing Ted Washington up front. Meanwhile, it'll be 3rd down and 7 for the Eagles. And McNabb getting to throw and hits up the middle to Antonio Freeman. And getting knocked down was McNabb by Roosevelt Colvin, but he completes the pass for the 1st down to Freeman, who has been a quiet receiver the last couple of weeks.
Roosevelt Colvin, he is the pass rush specialist, this time coming to the inside on a blitz, getting to Donovan McNabb, but the ability to get that ball out quickly to Antonio Freeman.
And a good inside receiver that has helped the Eagles tremendously. They are in Bear territory at the 49, and Dorsey Levens picking up 2 yards on 1st down. So a luxury for Andy Reid because he has Westbrook, he has the veteran Levens from the Packers to take some of the heat off of Deuce Staley.
It really does help Deuce Staley during the course of the season, and this is a guy who's coming off a very, very serious injury 2 years ago. He had a nagging shoulder injury all last season. You talked about the 2 great games he's had. That's because Deuce Staley is finally 100% healthy.
So it'll be 2nd down and 8 for the Eagles. And the penalty markers down, flags fly. And let's see whether that will be a false start. It is.
False start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
John Wellborn, the left guard.
Brian Urlacher trying to help out the officials. He's pointing right there at John Wellborn, number 76. Every little bit helps.
You always need an extra guy in a striped shirt. So following the penalty, 2nd and 13, and the Eagles back on their own 49, and the handoff is to Westbrook, who gives the Eagles a great change of pace with his speed. The rookie from Villanova, tackled by Brian Urlacher. And that will bring up 3rd down and short for the Eagles, who are in Chicago territory. 1st quarter, no score.
What Brian Westbrook allows you to do is he is a pass receiving threat as well as a running threat. He comes in, they get into those wide open sets. You come in and match personnel. All of a sudden, you've got big running lanes in the interior of that defensive line.
3rd down and 3 for the Eagles, who come into the game leading the NFL in rushing. R.W. McQuarters pointing his way, and here is the pitch to James Thrash, and the end around inside the 35 for a 1st down. And Donovan McNabb, in essence, was a blocker on that play as the Eagles pick up 7.
And this is why this football team loves to play with Donovan McNabb. Watch him right here with the block on Reggie Austin. That's your quarterback. He's not going down and cutting anybody out. He's staying up, taking his best shot. I tell you what, you can't inspire a team more than to go out and play with the kind of style he plays. He's a carefree guy, but when push comes to shove, he likes to get in there and mix it up with the best of them.
And he's 6'3", 240 pounds, and he can do almost everything. Deuce Staley is knocked down at the line of scrimmage by the center of the Bears defense, bringing up 2nd down and long. 5 minutes have elapsed here in the 1st quarter. No score. Dick Stockton along with Darryl Johnston and Ron Pitts. And over on the sideline, working on Jerry Azuma, the cornerback. So one of the starters out now, and he is replaced by Todd McMillan, number 26. Staley again, split out wide to the left. On 2nd down and 10, McNabb being flushed from the pocket, and down he goes back at the 40-yard line by Philip Daniels. And right now for a game break, let's go back to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick Stockton, a fumble by Minnesota put Tampa in good position to capitalize on it. Brad Johnson hooking up with Carl Williams, a 15-yard strike. That was Tampa's first score of the game on their first possession, 7-0 over the Vikings. Back to Dick and Darryl.
All right, thank you very much, JB. And Tampa Bay trying to unleash an offense which has been quiet this season. But following the sack and the loss of 7 yards, it'll be 3rd down and 16 for the Eagles, who are out of field goal range right at this moment. And McNabb on the fake handoff and decides to run and gets by one defender and throws it away. And that was Mike Green who put the pressure on, and later on Alex Brown, the rookie, and a flag has been thrown at about the 40-yard line.
forward pass beyond the line of scrimmage. Offense, number 5. 5-yard penalty, loss of down, 4th down.
Well, on these last 2 plays, the Bears have done a nice job of containing Donovan McNabb when he has gotten outside the pocket. They're using a controlled rush to not allow him to find those seams. On both of those occasions where they got the sack and then forced the throw, everybody is maintaining their lanes as the play breaks down.
Leon Johnson going back in deep formation. Sean Landeta will kick. So the loss of down as a result of that illegal forward pass as McNabb crossed the line. So Landeta saw him last night, and I said, you know, when you get to be 50, you're going to really boom them. You got to give it a few years. He still can kick well, trying to keep it in play. This may be tough. No, it's well out of the end zone for the touchback. And the Bears will take over. So the Bears defense does a good job holding McNabb, who got into Chicago territory. As a letterman in 3 sports, baseball, basketball, and football. And a lot of the legacy of the Chicago Bears all started right here. Hugh Douglas, all right, he is back at his defensive end position. 1st down at the 20-yard line for the Bears. Leon Johnson is in and running back. Johnson finds a small opening and makes the most of it, picking up 7 yards before N.D. Kalu makes the stop.
John Shute, offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears.
Well, are these Rams or what? Did they get their horns locked?
That's a classic right there.
That's Mike Gandy and Darwin Walker, and truly getting to know each other, you might say.
Well, that shows you that is a classic sign of guys playing, you know, the headbutt technique inside. And at least Darwin was nice and didn't, you know, like try to rip the helmet off of Mike Gandy and wrench his neck.
Oh,
that was
never seen that
entertaining.
before. Never happened to see that one. 2nd down and 4 for the Bears. Tight formation, a bunch group on the right as they hand off again to Leon Johnson, who dives for the 1st down, close to the 35. Kalu again on the tackle. So a different twist going with Leon Johnson so far.
Getting back, the offensive coordinator John Shute talked to it. He wanted to get Leon Johnson more involved in the offense, not only a changeup. And here's one of the other things he talked about: getting into a no huddle early in the game so the Eagles could not dictate the tempo to his offense.
1st down, Miller throws underneath and picks up about 5. Marty Booker, the intended receiver. Why the no huddle?
Well, he's not trying to create a mismatch. He's got a personnel out there that he knows the Eagles are going to match. He just wants to try and slow down Jim Johnson's approach. He does not want the tempo of this game dictated to him.
2nd and 4, and Miller again going underneath. No 1st down, but it's Marty Booker again, about a yard shy, and the tackle by the linebacker Sean Barber. You saw Jerry Azuma on his way into the locker room as Jim Johnson trying to dial up the defenses and react to the no huddle right here.
A little bit of a chess game going on right now. You see the personnel coming on and off the field. Jim Johnson wanted to pressure as much as he possibly could in the beginning of this football game. We'll see if that changes with the no huddle approach of the Bears.
3rd down and 1 for the Bears. And they go to Leon Johnson, who is stopped and does not get the 1st down. And that was Sean Barber, who very quietly has had an outstanding year on the Eagles defense.
He's going to come all the way from the backside. Sean Barber right here. Watch him find his way through those lanes. I tell you, they lost Jeremiah Trotter to free agency, but they made a very, very nice pickup in getting Sean Barber.
4th down, and Brad Maynard will kick again, and Brian Mitchell will go back.
Got 36 up here.
The Chicago Bears know that in order to make any kind of a passing attack go today, they're going to have to at least show the Eagles that they can gain something on the ground. Here's Maynard with the kick. Low kick, and will bounce and take a Chicago roll and will be down at about the 15-yard line. So nearly 5.5 remaining in the 1st. 0-0 between the Eagles and the Bears. I wonder if they still call it the quadrangle, as a lot of colleges do on the campus of the University of Illinois.
Fun to be on a college campus. It's a different atmosphere than the NFL stadiums. It's been a very nice weekend.
And you know, this stadium holds more people than Soldier Field did for Bears games, although they could have expanded it, obviously, as they once did. McNabb getting a pass rush, and his pass is going to be caught by Todd Pinkston. So McNabb with a very difficult throw, and Pinkston manages to keep both feet in bounds for a 24-yard pickup.
I think that Donovan McNabb throws this route as well as any quarterback in the NFL right now. This is with Keith Traylor in his face, and look at Todd Pinkston going up and making the play in front of Todd McMillan. You give your wide receiver a chance on the outside to use his ability to make a play.
And of course McMillan is in there because Jerry Azuma has been taken out. So a first down for the Eagles on the slant. Pinkston drops this one. And right now let's send it down to Ron Pitts.
Well, Dick, the Bears more injuries in the secondary. You just mentioned Jerry Azuma, bruised left leg. They took him inside for observation. His return right now is questionable. All that, and they just got back R.W. McQuarters. Dick?
Well, they've been snake bit, Ron. There's no question about it, this Chicago Bear team. And we talked about problems with injuries on the offensive line and Ted Washington. But you got to play through them, and they're not using them as excuses. Second down and 10 from the 40-yard line, and here is the rookie Brian Westbrook, and Westbrook picks up some good yardage, getting 4.
They just get R.W. McQuarters back. Now Jerry Azuma going out, and that has been one of the big problems. And, you know, they will downplay the injury situation, but look at right there. One defensive starter missed a game last year. They're only halfway through the season. They've had 18 games missed by defensive starters. That's 2 starters per game that are out of your lineup. And when you're a team fighting to be a competitive football team, it's going to affect you.
It's affecting Greg Blosh and his defense. Don't forget Warwick Holdman, a linebacker, an outstanding one, out for the season with a knee injury. So on third down, Donovan McNabb is sacked as flags fly back on the 40-yard line. Philip Daniels and company, and the second sack of this first quarter by the Chicago Bears defense. Terry McCauley leading the officiating crew today, and it'll be a face mask foul and a personal foul against the Bears, which will result in a first down for the Eagles.
Well, just some of more of the bad luck that the Chicago Bears have had this season. You make a defensive play, you're going to get Donovan McNabb off the field, which was a concern, and now they have a penalty that's going to extend the drive.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask. Defense, number 93, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Here it is, and it keeps the Eagles alive, Moose.
There you see it right there, and that's just Philip Daniels reaching up. He was blocked, actually blocked very well by the running back in protection, and he's just reaching up. It's an unintentional face mask. To me, that's hard to call. You'll see right here is the running back, Dorsey Levens, comes up, chops him down. He continues to move towards Donovan McNabb, and he's just reaching out. That's not an intentional one. Part of playing the game of football.
I know that sticks in your craw if you like the contact of football. First down after the penalty, and here is McNabb ad-libbing, and his pass thrown away from Deuce Staley. So the Eagles getting a chance, but Moose, I have to tell you, the Bears defense has been very aggressive in this first quarter.
They really have. And defensive coordinator Greg Blosh learning a lesson in that playoff game last year where he sat back in some zones. When the plays broke down, Donovan McNabb extends the time. He was able to find wide receivers open in the zones. Today, with R.W. McQuarters coming back, he was going to match up man-to-man, our best against your best, and I'm going to pressure you and see if you can beat us that way.
Second down and 10 on the 46 of the Bears. Short drop, and the ball is tipped that time by Alex Brown, the rookie from the University of Florida, and starting last week's game against the Vikings and giving a fine account of himself.
Well, he had a really, really nice day last week against the Vikings, and actually the whole defensive unit did. They kept the Bears in that football game. It was a 13-0 game at half, but could have been a much larger margin at that time had the defense not played well. And right now they've gotten off to a nice start again this afternoon. Now they're trying to get the crowd involved here at Memorial Stadium.
And the maestro is R.W. McQuarters. So here it is, third down and 10 for the Eagles. Getting a chance because of the penalty. And there is McNabb, and his pass is incomplete and intended for Antonio Freeman, bringing up fourth down, and the Eagles will have to kick, so that face mask penalty does not come back to haunt the Bears, who will get the ball back. 4:07 remaining in the first quarter, and Andy Reid trying to see if his offense can get untracked. Landeta punting for the second time, and Leon Johnson going back for the Bears. Andy Reid told us, he says, the Bears are an unpredictable team right now, and a bubble snap, and Landeta just tries to kick it. It is picked up by Brian Mitchell, and a flag is down. 3 of them, in fact. I don't know if you're allowed to just kick the ball that is on the field. I think you got to pick it up or fall on it. In any event, it'll go against the Eagles, it appears.
Illegally kicking the ball. Offense, number 7. Penalties decline. First down.
That is an example of football, not football.
For foosball. And
football.
Sometimes you play foosball.
You talked about Sean Landeta being in the league forever. You take your eyes off it, you're going to have some problems.
No, Sean, you can't do that. Back here at Champaign, we had heavy snow about an hour before the game, and a rain earlier, and then a light rain. And right now, the skies are overcast under a gray November sky here in Champaign. The Bears. There's the bunch offense, including Stanley Pritchett, who is lined up as a receiver. First down, and the pass out of the backfield to Stanley Pritchett, and Pritchett gains about 5 yards on the first down. Ike Reese starting today, making the tackle.
Jim Johnson finally going to a little bit of pressure, bringing it from the right side. A good play call by offensive coordinator John Shoup. Quick pass out to the right, but that was really the first time that he brought some pressure in this football game. He wanted to come out and be aggressive on the road. That was our first chance to see Jim Johnson's blitz package.
2nd and 5 on the Eagle 46. The pitch to Leon Johnson. Johnson with a head of steam gets to within a couple of yards of first down, and Ike Reese making the tackle.
A lot of guys will use the bunch package to create problems in the passing game, but here you see the Chicago Bears, their wide receivers are asked to go out and get some blocks. And on that one, Marty Booker and Ahmad Merritt, that's what happens when wide receivers block linebackers.
3rd down and 2. Dick Duran telling us that the Bears have been in 6 of 7 games. Last week was the blowout, 25-7. A poor performance by the Bears in every aspect. And their rushing game right now last in the league. So it's 3rd down and 2, and they're going to blow this play dead before it gets underway. So instead of 3rd and 2, the Bears could be looking at a 3rd down and 7. But the head linesman pointing over to the Philadelphia side. And so we may have encroachment, and it could be a first down.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 53. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Hugh Douglas in the neutral zone. Let's hear it. And Jim Miller with the count. And so we've seen no huddle. We've seen an abrupt count today. We're seeing a few things from the Bears.
The Bears need to open up their game plan and throw everything they can at the Philadelphia Eagles to be successful today.
From the 39, and this pass thrown behind Fred Baxter. And another flag comes in from the referee this time, and it's going to be personal foul called against the Bears. So that's the 2nd personal foul infraction against the Chicago Bears.
We talked about the margin of error for this Chicago Bears team. They cannot afford to have penalties. They've got to play virtually an air-free game to stay in this football game this afternoon.
Unnecessary roughness. Offense, number 75, after the play. 15-yard penalty. The down counts. 2nd down.
It's going to be on Mark Colombo right there, going on Hugh Douglas. You see right there, if that's what he called, well, I think there it is. There's the finish. All right, I was going to say, if that's all he's calling, I don't agree with that. But when the guy's down, you don't want to come jump on top.
Hey, look, Mark Colombo is on 7th heaven because Boston College defeated Notre Dame yesterday. So we're going to allow him that. Bears, fewest penalties in the National Football League. 2nd down and 25 after that one. Long way to go, and the pass is knocked away, bringing up 3rd and forever for Chicago. Jim Miller See Jim Miller on the sideline last week against the Minnesota Vikings. He was chomping at the bit to come into this game, did not like what he was seeing, and he admitted that his elbow is hurting him. It's not going to re-injure it. He can't get hurt anymore, but he has to be in there in his view.
And I think he did the right thing. He went to get an opinion to find out if there was going to be any further injuries. We see Jim Miller on the sideline with the Bears breaking the huddle.
So now we have Marty Booker, who is the quarterback here. The Eagles scrambling. Marty Booker, the wide receiver, going back to throw, and he's going to air it out to Marcus Robinson in double coverage, and the ball is knocked away. The Eagles had Marcus Robinson covered all the way, and a little bit of razzle-dazzle. Marty Booker, a former quarterback in high school, firing it downfield with Jim Miller on the sideline.
Well, you can see why he was a former quarterback in high school. That ball was thrown probably 60 yards in the air. Marcus Robinson goes up for the catch. He's got it, but it was... That's good job by N.D. Kalu.
Up by Brian Mitchell, and Mitchell goes out of bounds. You know, Darryl, if I don't see the single wing today, I'm going to be very upset the way this game is starting out. We'll be back. Jerry Azuma, who is back out there on the field at cornerback for the Chicago Bears. The Eagles have a first down on their 28-yard line. You could see the rain falling lightly. Handoff to Staley. And Deuce Staley with 152 yards 2 weeks ago against the Buccaneers. 126, pretty impressive against the Giants.
And you can see right now that play selection, the reason that is almost 50-50 is because of the play of the offensive line and the running of Deuce Staley. Andy Reid has admitted that he prefers to be more of a 60-40 team, but the one key component that was missing from this team, for me, getting to that level of elites in the NFC, was the running game. They've shown they can do that the last 2 weeks.
Second down and 6. Faking the handoff, plenty of time for McNabb. Drills it, but a bad pass bounces in front of the receiver, James Thrash, and a flag comes down, and the crowd booing, anticipating an R.W. McQuarters pass interference call.
And I don't know if that ball is catchable anyways. It short hopped about 3 yards in front of the intended receiver. But they're not calling pass interference, they're just calling illegal contact.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 43. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Well, they call it on Mike Green, and you're absolutely right. You know, even if it's uncatchable, illegal contact results in a penalty. So the Eagles once again get another first down as a result of a Bear penalty.
Well, what we're seeing right now, offensively and defensively, the Chicago Bears just not playing smart football and taking advantage of the opportunities.
Otherwise, they're playing this team on even terms. First down, and the end around to James Thrash. And Thrash is knocked out of bounds, and Jerry Azuma back into the game alertly follows Thrash and limits him to a 4-yard gain.
Here's number 43, Mike Green. There's where the penalty was going to be called with the illegal contact. You see it right there. That was away from the play.
Second down and 6.
Slow down.
So the question is right now, which team is going to take advantage of their opportunity first? Nearly a minute to go in the first quarter. McNabb, another penalty thrown, and McNabb going underneath, incomplete for Deuce Staley. And we have had a flurry of yellow flags from Terry McAuley and his officiating crew.
There's no foul for holding on the play. The ruling on the field is the pass is incomplete. Third down.
Hey, why not? Even when there's no foul, throw it anyway, because they are in the habit of doing that in this game thus far.
It has been a rather sloppy game up until this point, and that is what Andy Reid's concern was, that his team would come out and play down to the level of the competition. The Bears are a struggling football team. The Eagles want to be considered one of the top teams, not only in the NFC, but the NFL, and they are not raising their level of play and playing like a great team should.
Not at this point, they're not. Crowd on its feet, third down and 6. Freeman in motion, stepping up and stepping down. The Bears doing a great job, and another flag goes down at midfield. Another penalty down. We're getting them on every play thus far, it seems.
Donovan McNabb refers to this style of rush as the mush rush. They just try and fill the lanes. They're not really trying to get there to the point where they allow him a lane to escape.
Holding defense, number 24. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Reggie Austin, the nickel corner, holding on the play, and so the Eagles get another life and a first down on the 47-yard line of Philadelphia.
And already we're almost out of the first quarter right now, but that is the second drive that this defense has extended with a penalty. And one of the concerns that defensive coordinator Greg Blasch had was getting Donovan McNabb off the field in third downs. His defense is allowing him to stay on the field.
But 4 penalties, mostly on defense, to the tune of 40 yards, is negating that strategy. So a first down and the flip to Brian Westbrook, and a loss on the play as another flag goes down. Brian Urlacher, and I have to tell you right now, nothing kills the tempo of a game more than a penalty on every play. And this crew is doing it, and they've got to call it, I guess, the way they see it.
Illegal shift, offense, 2 men moving prior to the snap, did not reset. Penalties declined, second down.
And if they did, Moose, they did.
Yeah, you got to call it when you got to call it. But I tell you what, you do not want to run on the perimeter with Brian Urlacher. We have talked about Ted Washington not being there, but look at his vision. He saw where Brian Westbrook was the whole time. Run at Brian Urlacher in these situations. Do not try and run laterally.
2nd and 14, and the Eagles on their 43. Final seconds of this first quarter. They hand off to Westbrook, and he gets a couple of yards, and that should be the last play of the first quarter, picking up 1. And the time will run down, and so the Chicago Bears and the Eagles, like boxers, feeling each other out. And that is the end of the first quarter here at Champaign with the score. The Eagles nothing and the Bears nothing. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages. Scoreless game as we start the second quarter, and talk about pride, and Dick Butkus had that and a lot more, wearing the orange and blue of the Illini before wearing the blue and orange of the Chicago Bears. And in his legacy, Brian Urlacher hopes to get to that point. A lot of people think he will. Third down pass dropped by Pinkston. Not a good one by McNabb, thrown behind him, and that will bring up 4th down.
We've talked a lot about the Bears trying to prevent the Eagles defense from dictating tempo, but I tell you right now, defensive coordinator Greg Blasch is doing a very nice job of dictating the tempo to the Eagles offense. He has got them totally out of sync right now.
Sean Landeta will do the kicking, and Leon Johnson back to return for the Bears. Here's Johnson at the 17, not going anywhere. So the Bears see what trickery, even though Halloween is past, they have up their sleeve.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by new MSN 8. It's better with the butterfly. MSN 8. More useful every day. By Heineken, it's all about the beer. Heineken. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And by Toyota, get the feeling.
The greatest player ever to step foot on this sod was the galloping ghost, number 77, Red Grange, who scored 4 touchdowns on the day back in 1924 the stadium was dedicated. The same day, by the way, that the 4 Horsemen performed back in the Polo Grounds. First down for the Bears, and Anthony Thomas, who took a backseat to Leon Johnson the last 2 series, gets close to the first down.
Well, John Shoop has been trying to find out what type of approach to use against this Eagles defense. He has had no success on the first 3 series. Gets off to a nice start with this drive.
First down for the Chicago Bears, and a good hold for Johnson.
And you know what? They have looked good running the football. They have struggled at times, but this is something that they have to stick with. We saw Leon Johnson earlier. Now it's Anthony Thomas's turn.
And that was Thomas, not Johnson. And Thomas getting the handoff again and picking up 2 yards on the play. Philadelphia Eagles, the linebacker, Barry Gardner, who now is the backup to Levon Kirkland, getting a little tape job on the sideline. Bears have lost 5 in a row And to a man, they'll tell you that it has been a struggle. Their confidence is low, but if they ever could pull out of it with an upset win against the team that knocked their season out last year, this could set them on their way. 2nd down and 8. Play action, and open downfield is Stanley Pritchett. And Pritchett with the first down close to midfield, and a 15-yard gain for the Bears.
Stanley Pritchett playing the fullback position gives them more opportunities in the passing game. A nice job of eluding Sean Barber on his release, and then a good job of hanging onto the football with a big hit by Blaine Bishop. You see Sean Barber bite on that play fake. That allows Stanley Pritchett the time to get by. Jim Miller does a nice job of getting the ball around him. A nice hit by Blaine Bishop at the end of that play.
And Levon Kirkland with the big weight, sending him down. 1st down for the Bears on their 49-yard line. Booker went in motion, and the pitch to Anthony Thomas. And Anthony Thomas bowling his way. He looks like a far different runner than he has in recent time. 5-yard gain with Brian Dawkins on the tackle. And the penalty flag is down. Unsportsmanlike conduct called against Philadelphia.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting, defense, number 58, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
So Ike Reese called for taunting, and the Bears get a 1st down.
And you just can't get into a verbal confrontation with a guy on the football field. It's been a point of emphasis since training camp. These guys all know about it. The league, the officials are going to watch it very closely. And Ike Reese gets up and just has a few words to say to Anthony Thomas, and he gets flagged for an easy 15 yards.
Well, you know what's happening. You know, Jeremy Shockey of the Giants called for that taunting foul last Monday night against this Eagle team. 1st down for the Bears on the Eagle 31-yard line, scoreless early here in the 2nd. Jim Miller pitching to Anthony Thomas, trying to turn the corner, and no gain on the play. Good pursuit by the Eagle defense, led by the veteran Blaine Bishop, their strong safety. Thomas, who gained over 1,000 yards last year. When you talked about the Bears able to run the ball, he was the reason why.
Oh, he had a tremendous season last year, and that's where all the offensive success came from, was the great job by Anthony Thomas and the guys up front controlling the tempo in the running game. Time of possession was big. Their defense fed off that. This is a different team when they're running the football well.
None of that has happened so far this year. 2nd down and 11, and there's Thomas out of the backfield. Anthony Thomas inside the 15, still going, and a flag is thrown as Thomas is finally tackled at about the 9-yard line. A 22-yard middle screen to Thomas, and it'll be brought back. Holding is the call against the Chicago Bears. So they have been decimated by penalties in this 1st half. Terry McCauley very busy, getting a lot of camera time, I might add, in this game.
Holding offense, number 86, 10-yard penalty. The penalty leaves the ball short of the line of game. It'll be 1st and 1.
This is Marty Booker down at the bottom of your screen. The holding penalty will be called from the spot of the foul, so that's why it will be...
Correction, it remains 2nd down.
Yeah, it was 2nd down going into that play, so it will be 2nd and 1 because it will be marked off from the spot of the foul. But this is just a little dump off, and what Jim Miller was able to do, you can see him yell there to get Anthony Thomas's attention. There was nobody in the middle of the field except Levon Kirkland. Anthony Thomas, one-on-one with Levon Kirkland in the middle of the field, is the type of matchups that the Bears have to find. And
Booker definitely did hold on to Taylor. Here is Anthony Thomas on 2nd and 1, and trying to drive for the 1st down. Paul Grassmanis in on the tackle, a former Chicago Bear, and it is a 1st down. Jim Johnson, whose Eagle defense has not allowed an offensive touchdown in their 4 games against NFC opponents, and right now that's in jeopardy.
They are not playing up to the level that we have seen them play the last few weeks. The Chicago Bears, a struggling offense, actually doing a nice job on this drive right here.
Jim Miller back in action, trying to get the Bears into the end zone. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line, and they are in the red zone right now, and the pass caught out of the backfield by Stanley Pritchett. And Pritchett gets to the 16-yard line. Actually, they'll mark it at the 14. So it'll be a pickup of 4 yards.
And now we're into an area that actually gave Jim Johnson some concern. He really felt the Bears were a good red zone team. They had not had a lot of opportunities in the red zone, but when they get there, they are good. They have a lot of weapons. It will change his thinking. He has got to stay balanced using his pressure and some zone schemes to try and confuse Jim Miller.
Pritchett getting a lot of work here as the Bears bring in the 2 tight ends, Baxter and Davis. 2nd down and 6. The pitch to Anthony Thomas off the left side. That has worked for the Bears. Thomas will wind up about 1.5 yards shy, thanks to Hugh Douglas, as Chicago mounting the best scoring threat we've had in this half.
They're doing it with a nice controlled approach right here. You see right there the red zone offense, 11 TDs in their 20 possessions. The one thing that has stopped them are their turnovers. They have had the most turnovers in the red zone of any team in the NFL. But when they're able to hold on to the ball, have been very effective with their chances.
3rd down and 2. And the 10th play of the drive, Ahmad Merritt is in the backfield right now, number 81, a wide receiver in the backfield, and here is Miller swinging it out, and Merritt can't hold on. So Merritt, who should be sure-handed as a receiver, cannot hold on to that ball, and 4th down coming up, and the Bears send their field goal unit in.
Well, that's Ike Reese moving up on the play, and what happened to Ahmad Merritt right there is he heard some footsteps as that ball was getting close. He took his eyes off the football to find out who the defender was coming to see him. And you got to make the catch first.
So Paul Ettinger will attempt a 30-yard field goal to try to break this logjam here with 9:33 to go in the first half. Ettinger is hit on 9 of 12 this year. Not many opportunities. And Ettinger's kick, and the kick is good. Just made it in the left goalpost inside, and the Bears strike first, lead the Eagles 3-0. Back at Memorial Stadium in Champaign, Dick Stockton along with Darrell Johnston and Ron Pitts, the Bears in front of the Eagles 3-0 in a game in which 2 teams who played in the divisional playoff last year at Soldier Field, and a game in which the Eagles won 33-19 when the Bears were healthy and 13-3, but right now Chicago leads. And good coverage by the Bears kicking team again. And Philadelphia's offense gets another shot.
Sunday is brought to you by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
With the Bears up 3-0, want to remind you that coming this February, the world's best drivers return to Fox for the 45th running of the Great American Race. The Daytona 500 drops the flag on 15 weeks of NASCAR coverage, returning this February to Fox, doing it better than anyone. So that'll be something to look forward to. And the fans here, many of them from downstate, some good deal, of course, from Chicago, looking for the Bears to get back on the winning track as Deuce Staley on 1st down picks up a couple of yards. Flag is down. Penalty marker. A familiar refrain from yours truly so far in this first half. And it'll be another defensive foul against Chicago.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 59, after the play. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Roosevelt Coleman.
Here comes Roosevelt Coleman in from the top of the screen. Everybody's already down. They talk about the defense or the offensive lineman going downfield and doing that same foul. You can't come running in when the play's ended and take a shot at a guy, especially in the back. You're going to get a flag.
You know, the Bears were talking about some of the late hits and some cheap shots the Eagles have done. And of course, they've got a little on their ball, too. 1st down, and here's Deuce Staley. And a good defensive play holding on is Philip Daniels, number 93, and only a 3-yard pickup for Staley.
Well, this is the quarter that the Eagles have performed very well in up until this point this year. We'll see if that holds true this afternoon. They need something right now because they are just not playing with any type of emotion. A much different team that has played the last 2 weeks in their 2 big victories over the Buccaneers and the Giants.
Staley has 8 yards rushing in 5 attempts. So 2nd down and 7, and a big open for Donovan McNabb, and he takes advantage of it and gets the first down into Bear territory to the 45. Mike Green prevents more than a 9-yard pickup.
And when defensive coordinator Greg Blache talked about his approach for this football game, this is what would worry me. This is a heck of a job by Mike Green getting back to tackle Donovan McNabb. We have seen him time and time again be able to pull away from defenders in the open field. When you play man-to-man coverage and he sees that gaping hole, he is going to be gone.
2 carries for 10 yards for McNabb, and the handoff to Deuce Staley, and he gets a pretty good opening off the right side and gets 9 yards in the process. Brian Urlacher making the tackle, and that may be the kind of play that you didn't get against the Bears last year with a healthy Ted Washington.
No, you didn't. You were forced to run on the perimeter, and not because of Ted Washington keeping guys off of Brian Urlacher, but just the fact that he is such a big man. He just clogged up that entire middle of the defensive line along with Keith Traylor. It was virtually impossible to run between the tackles.
This season, it's been a different story as teams are running to success against the Bears, and here is Staley running for another first down. So Deuce Staley trying to get on track, coming off 2 brilliant games. Longest play from scrimmage, by the way, was the pass from McNabb to Pinkston, good for 24 yards in the first quarter. So there is Staley, and has he come on?
And he's the type of back that does need more carries. You see the first 5 games, only 58 carries, less than 12 per game. The last 2 games, almost 25 per carry. He's one of those running backs that just feeds off the emotion the more you hand him the ball.
First down on the 32 of the Bears. They go to Deuce again, turning the corner, and Urlacher with an open field tackle prevents what I think would have been an unquestionable first down. A 5-yard pickup for Deuce Staley.
I tell you, you just do not realize how fast Brian Urlacher is. He's shuffling side to side right there. When he turns to run, you better have about a 3-yard head start, or you're not going to beat him to the corner. You talk about running backs that have that deceptive speed, that turn the corner and everybody takes wrong angles. Brian Urlacher is the opposite on the defense. You think you've got the corner, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
2nd down and 5. Already the Eagles are in Akers field goal range, and here is McNabb trying to make something out of nothing. Flag goes down from the secondary, and McNabb running out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. So another penalty called in this game, and this will be against the Philadelphia Eagles. Or check that, that'll be against the Chicago Bears. McNabb picked up 8 yards.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 43, 5 yards, added to the end of the run. First down.
So Mike Green with the penalty, and the Eagles taking advantage of it. Another first down.
I want you to watch Donovan McNabb on this scramble. As he steps up, he will move to his right, but watch his shoulders. His shoulders stay square to the line of scrimmage until he decides to pull the ball down and run. He is a little bit different than Michael Vick and Dante Culpepper, because when he moves, he is still looking to throw the football. Look at his shoulders, square, looking downfield. All of a sudden, last minute, he'll pull it down and run. But you cannot come off your man and chase him, or he will throw the football to the wide open receiver.
I don't think you want to leave your feet either. And there is the handoff to Staley, who is knocked back to the 16-yard line. There'll be a loss of a couple on that play as the Eagles in field goal position, looking to do even better here. Andy Reid, who has talked constantly, as Darryl has mentioned, about the goal. Yeah, you want to win the division, but you're looking for home field, and they've talked about it from the beginning. That'd be a big advantage for the Eagles, but that's way down the line. 2nd down and 11 with 5 minutes to go in the first half. Here's McNabb looking to throw, has time, and it's knocked down, incomplete. Good play by R.W. McQuarters, and a late flag comes down. James Thrash was the intended receiver, and a very late interference call against the Chicago Bears. I'll tell you, this crew, and you can say, well, it's valid, calling him on every play, it seems.
Defense, number 21, automatic first down.
At some point, you have got to let the guys on the field play the game of football. There's certain things that happen during the course of a game that, yeah, that could be on the verge of a penalty, but you've got to let it go. That is not pass interference on R.W. McQuarters. He did not come through the back. He did nothing wrong on that play.
So it is a first down, 1st and goal on the 5-yard line for the Eagles. Crowd very upset, and that's understandable. Here is McNabb, and McNabb trying to go to Pinkston, incomplete. He was out of the end zone, and that will bring up 2nd and goal. Good coverage by Jerry Azuma, who was shaken up earlier. But the fans do not pay good money and sit in the inclement weather to see yellow flags thrown on virtually every play. The officials have to use judgment on when to throw it.
In every play you can throw a flag. There's some that are critical and some that are not. You see right there, that could be called as holding right there. You let those type of plays go. Jerry Azuma did not do anything that took away from that play. You just don't have to throw the flag every time you see something.
Bears defense called for 6 penalties already. And here is McNabb with the quarterback draw, gets in for the touchdown. Donovan McNabb, and always a major threat for the Eagles when you get down close, spreading them out and then running up the middle for the touchdown. A 5-yard run for Donovan McNabb.
Well, the mobile quarterback is the one guy that you can't account for, and that really hurts you in the red zone, because you've got defenders all over the field. When these formations get open on the wide receivers, you're counting on the tight end, looking at the backs. All of a sudden, they're able to sneak Donovan McNabb right up the middle on that draw.
David Akers for the point after has been perfect this year and remains so, and the Eagles lead it by a score of 7-3. Donovan McNabb running for the 6th time to pay dirt. On the sideline as the Eagles lead 7-3. So the Philadelphia Eagles take the lead. 10 plays, 73 yards. McNabb with his 6th touchdown on the run. Eagles, by the way, with 13 first downs, 6 of them coming after Chicago penalties. And I think that the Bears have to know how they're calling them on the defensive side as well. Here is a short kick, and it's taken by Ahmad Merritt. And Merritt gets knocked back just before he gets to the 30, might have gotten to the 31-yard line.
Well, we've seen a lot of penalties called, but here's the one that you have to call. Brian Urlacher on this quarterback draw. I talked about the quarterback not being accounted for. Watch this hold. John Welborn's got him, turns him, doesn't let go. If you're going to call the close ones, you got to call the obvious ones.
4:37 remaining in the first half. The Eagles leading the Bears for the first time. So Urlacher not only getting a breather, but a little steaming, I would think, after that play that resulted in the touchdown. So Jim Miller, his last 4 completions have been to running back, starting on his own 31. Handing off to Anthony Thomas. And Thomas with a good chunk of yardage on 1st down, picking up 6 yards. Well, the Bears have actually gained more through the air than the Eagles, and the Eagles have outrushed the Bears. That's a bit of a switch.
Yeah, some reversal of what we thought would happen today. The Philadelphia Eagles leading the league in rushing. The Bears really struggling, but have done a much better job consistently running the football. And if they could just get their defense to stop committing penalties, they'd be in this football game probably ahead right now.
They keep the formation tight as they go back to Thomas, and Thomas trying to get close to the 1st down yardage. May be shy by just a small margin. Eagles at 5-2 on the year. They are leading the division by 2 games after their victory over the Giants. And right now, Hugh Douglas is on the sideline with his helmet off. It'll be 3rd down and 1. Of course, the pass rusher can go to the sideline when it's a run defense. So it's 3rd and 1 at the 40 of Chicago. Thomas, and the Bears convert their first 3rd down conversion of the day. Pick up a 4 for Anthony Thomas.
All 3 running plays on this opening series. You see Stanley Pritchett right there. Nice lead block on Levon Kirkland. Good vision by both backs, avoiding Darwin Walker, who had got the penetration in getting to the backside of that play.
Inside 3 minutes remaining in this first half. 7-3, the Eagles are in front, and Thomas, who gained only 18 yards a week ago against the Vikings. And the timeout called by Jim Miller as the play clock was running down. First timeout of the game for either team. We'll be back.
Hello, Moto.
Back here in a wet day in Champaign, Illinois, the one-year home for the Chicago Bears, who are going to see a refurbished and spanking, newly constructed Soldier Field next year. Hugh Douglas returning to the game in the pass rushing situation, 1st and 10 on the Bears 44. The pass completion to Booker. Marty Booker with speed after the catch. First down to the Eagle 37 and a gain of 19 yards.
That's what this offense is very effective at. You see the large cushion on Marty Booker. He just runs a simple hitch route. The ball is delivered on time. And the run after the catch by the receivers in this offense is what makes these long plays go. You can't get that ball out without protection. They have done a nice job up until this point, and we've got Levon Kirkland down on the football field right now.
And that would be a difficult loss. You know, Kirkland had his problems earlier this season in pass coverage, but Jim Johnson, who said, look, a lot of it may be my fault. I should have used him more in preseason, had improved that area. And he says, Kirkland's my guy. He is my middle linebacker and doesn't have to worry about that spot. But now you look at Barry Gardner, who could be forced in to take his place, and Gardner is entering the game.
The one thing that all the defenders talk about is how complicated this system is and how long it takes for you to get to the point where you're just reacting because you know the system. And it was very difficult for Levon coming in this season, getting limited snaps in training camp because he was splitting time with Barry Gardner, to have gotten that full understanding of the defense. He feels he's to that point now.
Kirkland, walking off on his own power, has made 5 tackles today, in a day in which Anthony Thomas has gotten a little on loose leash and running pretty well.
Well, coming off his worst performance as a professional last week really has been the spark for this Chicago Bear offense. They are at their best when they are running the football well, and that has been the case this afternoon.
Thomas with 38 yards and 9 carries, averaging over 4 yards a carry. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Bears on the 37-yard line. Play action. Miller getting rid of it and completes it to the 20 to Des White. His first completion is a big one and a first down inside the 15 of Philadelphia. 24-yard gain as the clock runs down to the 2-minute warning, and the Bears threaten to regain the lead. First half, I'm going to go on a little limb here and say that the Chicago Bears, considering everything, has to score a touchdown. A field goal may not get it done. You're wondering about the Bears not going deep. How about those 20-yard passes leading the league? So it's a first down on the 13. Thomas bursting inside the 10 and close to the 5-yard line. A 7-yard pickup with Barry Gardner, Levon Kirkland's replacement, making the tackle.
And that's exactly right. Levon Kirkland's not in the lineup. The first place I'm going running the football is between the tackles. Levon Kirkland is a big man. He will fill both of those inside gaps. I'm going to challenge that defense while he's out of the lineup, and you've got to be able to run the football in the red zone to be successful.
Well, he's back in now. Levon Kirkland has checked back in. It'll be 2nd and 3 for the Bears, who are trailing by 4 points. And here is Thomas going into the end zone. Touchdown for Anthony Thomas. So the Bears reviving their running game and regain the lead as Anthony Thomas going 6 yards for the touchdown and a 9-7 Chicago advantage.
I tell you what, you look at teams that are successful in the red zone, the one thing they all have is a good running game. Stanley Pritchett on the lead block on Brian Dawkins. Everything else, just a little bit of a walk in there for Anthony Thomas. You better make sure you finish those runs, Anthony.
Paul Ettinger will try to add the extra point for the Bears. with 1:17 to go in the first half. With an unorthodox style, as he has shown, and the kick is good. And it's now the Bears 10, Eagles 7. Jim Miller is back. JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have scores and highlights from around the league. And the Fox Sports ticker will keep you updated with up to the second stats. A field goal for the Bears would have made it close, but the way they're going, they needed more than that. And the Philadelphia Eagles find themselves in a tussle here against the Bears with 1:17 to go. There's the scoring drive, and just call it Anthony Thomas. Ettinger will kick off for Chicago. Flags down as Mitchell is tackled at the 27 by Brian Knight. And holding against the Eagles will put them in a bit of a bind with time beginning to wind down in this first half.
During the return, holding, receiving team, number 84. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Freddie Mitchell. So Andy Reid's team going against the team that is trying to get out of their doldrums. Well, the races, the faces, and the balance of power. You decide. 2002. Trusted political coverage November 5th, only on Fox News Channel. Eagles have all three of their timeouts remaining. They'll start from their 18. McNabb to throw on first down, and it's Deuce Staley out of the backfield. First down for the Eagles up to the 33, and McQuarters with the stop. And the Eagles will call their first timeout after the pickup of 15 yards. Timeouts remaining, and a first down on their 33. Again, McNabb flushed out for the moment, pumps once, and tries to get it to Deuce Staley to no avail.
Chicago Bears rushing three defenders, dropping everybody else into coverage, and the one guy you will see is number 54, Brian Urlacher, shadowing Donovan McNabb. It's a spy technique, but he's also covering the middle of the field with the running backs that are dropping in. That is the ability that this guy has. He can do more than one thing because of the speed he possesses and the ground he covers from side to side.
And Roosevelt Colvin with that three-man front being used as a pass rusher. Now they fill the gap with two more. One drops back on 2nd and 10, and the pass up the middle caught by Antonio Freeman, who finds his way into Chicago territory. A gain of 23 yards to the 44-yard line, and the Eagles will use their second timeout. That's the aggressive nature of Andy Reid. Even though he was backed up, he thinks he can get points. We'll be back. One timeout left for the Eagles on the 44 of the Bears. Trailing 10-7 to Chicago. Chad Lewis went in motion, now blocking, and McNabb sandwich throws the ball up for grabs, and the Bears pick it off. And unable to hold on to it as a flag flies is Mike Brown, of all people. They finally came in with the call. It looked as if Mike Brown had picked it off. Here's R.W. McQuarters, and a personal foul against the Bears, so another defensive penalty called against the Chicago Bears.
After the interception, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, intercepting team, number 98, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, the offensive team can come on, and they signal incomplete when they came onto the field to the officials. We saw them.
Well, yeah, that was the, did Mike Brown have the catch? Hard to see right there. Yeah, he's got it. He definitely has it. And then the penalty comes after that.
So the interception would count, and it'll be a post-possession flag.
And there's 98, Brian Robinson battling with Jermaine Mayberry, and it's just one of the things. These guys saw the videos at training camp. They know what the officials are going to call. Just don't do it.
Now the question is, do you challenge that upstairs? It has to be an upstairs challenge to see whether Mike Brown did have possession, but the play is going to go on. So the Bears, with their first interception since week 2, they get the ball on their own 23. And here is Jim Miller. And Miller out to Ahmad Merritt. And does not stop the clock. Merritt did not get out of bounds. And the clock continues to run. The Bears still with 2 timeouts left. And Chicago will use one now after the 5-yard pickup.
Take all the time you want, folks.
We'll take this one in red. Beautiful choice, sir. No, black.
Black. That's actually my favorite color.
Dick Duron just had a discussion with Darryl Boston, who's the father of David Boston, the Arizona Cardinals brilliant receiver. Byron Boston, I should say. Here's Miller. Caught by Merritt. Ahmad Merritt into Philadelphia territory. They got to watch the clock. And we'll still 1 timeout left for the Bears, and they will use it now. 30-yard pickup for Jim Miller. Paul Edinger, who's long field goal in his career, 54 yards 2 seasons ago, has hit a 53-yarder. Outdoors, however, only a 49-yard field goal. Right now the Bears have the ball on the Eagle 47, having used their 3rd and last timeout. 19 seconds remain in the first half. And when we were out on the field yesterday, Darryl, it looked like the wind from yesterday anyway, when we had clear skies, would be at Edinger's back. But whatever they do, they're not going to have a lot of time because they are out of timeouts. So here is Miller on 1st down, and the pass, Marcus Robinson has it. And time is running, and the Bears have to line up and spike the ball to give Edinger a long field goal attempt. That's their only hope. They stop the clock at 4 seconds, and Edinger is going to come on and try a long one. And now they've got some hot tempers on a wet day here in downstate Illinois.
Well, it has been one of those games where the tempers have flared. In this situation, you have got to be careful. This is a long field goal attempt. Defensively, if you get a penalty in that situation, Andy Reid will blow his top when he gets in the locker room.
Edinger already with a 30-yard field goal. And this one close to 55, maybe a little shorter than that. 53-yard attempt for Edinger with the punter Brad Maynard holding with 4 seconds to go in the half. Eagles back into the end zone. Remember, you can return it. Here's the kick, and it hits the crossbar and goes over, and the kick is good. Edinger's field goal hits the crossbar and bounces over. So Dick Duron gets the bounce his way for a change, and the field goal is good.
What a great job by the Chicago Bears offense, stealing 3 points at the end of the half.
If it goes the other way, it's no good. It bounced over, so the kick by Edinger, 53 yards, is good. And the crowd delighted with the first half, as are the Chicago Bears. And right now, let's go down to Ron Pitts.
Coach, I saw you talking there with the official. What was the problem going in after that kick?
Oh, I don't have any problems. You know, if we're committing that many fouls, then we've got a problem. And if we're not, then they've got a problem. But, you know, I don't have any problem with the score right now. It's good to be ahead. They're a good team. Our guys play hard. You know, it's good to... We got to get a reward. You know, we got to come out after 2 more quarters with the lead, and then we'll be happy.
Seems like you got that running game going again. I know you were striving for that.
Yeah, you know, we've overcome some adversity, but I like the way our guys work, and we like to run the ball. I mean, we got to run it to be successful.
All right, Coach, good luck second half.
Thanks.
Dick, back up to you.
Ron, your old buddy Dick Duron from Green Bay days. The end of the first half, Bears 13, Eagles 7. Fox NFL Sunday continues with the Visa halftime report in a moment. Eagles in a big surprise, 13-7, and of course the Eagle defense giving up the first touchdown to an offensive team this year against an NFC club. But hey, Donovan McNabb comes into this game as the focal player, the headline player. He has not been up to the par of recent games.
No, this team goes offensively as Donovan McNabb goes, and he has not been that game-breaking quarterback we've seen over the last few weeks. Whether running or throwing the football, he can do it both ways, and we have not seen that this afternoon.
Why do you think?
I'm not really sure right now. I just think the Bears are a better defensive team than people give them credit for. Everybody wants to focus on the injury to Ted Washington, but they played well last week against Minnesota, and they're playing well again this afternoon. I'm worried that the Philadelphia Eagles got caught up in looking at the record and looking at the struggles of the Bears and have overestimated their abilities in this football game.
Now, when a coach says don't do that during the week, how do you then do it anyway? You've been in that situation as a player.
Well, you come out flat, you don't have anything go positive for you in the first half. Suddenly the other team gains momentum and you find yourself in the middle of a dogfight, and that's where the Eagles are right now.
Brian Mitchell on the run, returning the second half kickoff, has a head of steam and brings it out past the 40-yard line as we get a report now from Ron Pitts.
Well, Dick, I talked to Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator Jim Johnson. He told me the big problem right now, we got to stop the run, particularly the cutback. And we got to do that by stunning more. I'm going to have my defensive linemen going all kind of different directions to try to slam that thing. He said he's going to keep the pressure on. That's no surprise. I asked him, are you going to keep the blitzing? He said, absolutely. And one thing you mentioned there, Daryl, about taking this game lightly. I talked to some of the Philadelphia Eagle coaches before the game, and they were concerned that the team wasn't quite focused enough on this game. Dick?
All right, Ron, very nice. Deuce Staley for a couple of yards. Let's take a look at the first half statistics.
There's your big tell-all right there. The yards per play, 6.1. You know, everything else, you know, kind of feeds off of that. The Philadelphia Eagles have been an explosive offense as of late with tremendous success running the football and throwing the football. Today, the Bears making them go the long way to get their yards.
2nd down and 8. And the handoff to Staley off the left side, and it's Brian Urlacher who's coming out to make the big play for the Bears, bringing up 3rd down and long.
Well, you know, I feel that Brian Urlacher has a lot to prove this afternoon because a lot of people are questioning him and his ability to play the linebacker position without Ted Washington there. You see the way the Eagles have decided to run the football. Teams have been attacking the inside. I think Brian Urlacher does a nice job of getting off blocks and making plays. He's not one-dimensional. He's not just a sideline-to-sideline linebacker.
He's showing it today, Moose. 3rd down and 6. And here is McNabb looking to throw and lofts this pass and into traffic, and a terrific catch by Antonio Freeman. That was a touch pass by McNabb, and Freeman, amongst 2 blue shirts, grabs it for a 29-yard gain.
And I think Andy Reid did a great job of getting guys like Antonio Freeman on this football team just for a game like this. You're waiting for somebody to step up and make a play to get this offense back on track. He's got Dorsey Levens, he's got Antonio Freeman, who have been with football teams that have been through struggles on a Super Bowl run. That's the dividend you see right there.
On the 27, Staley gets by a couple of defenders and finds his way to the 26. Urlacher making the tackle. So Antonio Freeman, who made that last catch, 3 catches for 61 yards.
Brian Urlacher again showing his pursuit of the ball, getting to the point of attack. And you see right there, there's not many people getting on to Brian Urlacher, and that was something that Andy Reid was very happy with his offensive line. They were getting from level 1 up to level 2 onto the linebacker level. Brian Urlacher has been running free all afternoon.
He has led the team in tackles every game. Here is 2nd down, and the quick pass to James Thrash. Thrash will be short of the first down by 3 yards.
What the Philadelphia Eagles have done a nice job is getting 2 guys onto this and either getting pushed back into the linebacker, or as he scrapes to come into the hole, coming off and getting a block on that player. They're not allowing the down guys to make tackles. I think it's very important. Sometimes you see offensive line groups that don't get that down guy secured before they move to the next level. Their success the last 2 weeks has been the ability to drive those guys back into the linebacker area.
Third down and 3, and now Staley is uncovered as he lines up to the right. McQuarters catches up to him, and here is McNabb trying to get away, and he does. Donovan McNabb will run for the first down, and tightropes down the sideline, knocked out of bounds at the 7. Brian Robinson very nearly nabbed McNabb back of the line of scrimmage, and he got away for a 13-yard gain.
And you can do all you want to try and contain Donovan McNabb. We all know he likes to scramble to his right, but you can't stop him. And watch Mike Brown at the end of the run. Donovan McNabb is beyond the line of scrimmage. He gives him a pump fake. He gets him off his feet, and that allows him to turn the corner. We talked with Brian Urlacher about it. He says if he gets outside, I am running through him. I am not leaving my feet. There goes Mike Brown up in the air.
First and goal for the Eagles on the Bears 6. Coming out in ferocious fashion here in the second half. And the pass to Thrash is incomplete. Well, I don't know what Andy Reid told his team during intermission, but they have come out in a house of fire here in the third.
Well, it's just what we talked about. This team goes as Donovan McNabb goes. He had some runs in the first half, but this opening drive has shown you all his abilities. He's throwing the ball well, allowing his receivers to make plays, and when they break down, he can continue to move the chains.
And McNabb so far as a rusher, 5 carries, 37 yards, a touchdown, averaging nearly 7.5. Second and goal on the 6, the flip to Dorsey Levens, and right there was Roosevelt Colvin. And that will bring up third down from the 5-yard line.
And that has been one of the things that this team has done offensively. They have a lot of different plays. They will force you to be able to defend a lot of different things. But I'm not a big fan of the shovel pass inside. I know you've seen it work for touchdowns, but this is a team that has so many other weapons. I think there were better choices.
Third down and goal. McNabb getting rushed, fires, and the ball is dropped, incomplete. And it was Antonio Freeman who had a hand on it, and Mike Green with the defensive play, and McNabb facing another rush from Brian Urlacher.
There's Brian Urlacher. He comes clean on a nice little stunt to the outside. John Runyon has got to come down and seal the inside. He got focused on Roosevelt Colvin. Roosevelt Colvin did not come. Brian Urlacher was able to get right up inside into Donovan McNabb's face.
So David Akers will try to get 3 out of this. He's missed only 1. That was last Monday night, a 50-yarder against the Giants, and Akers' kick is good. And the Bear lead has been cut to 13-10. But Chicago did a good job keeping Philly out of the end zone.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
The inscriptions on the brick wall near the Colonnade area here at Memorial Stadium at the University of Illinois. Bears playing here this year. Some teams have had to go to temporary homes while their stadium was refurbished. I remember the New York Giants had to play 2 Bears. And Merritt fights his way close to the 20. Can't say enough, though, about the Bears defense not allowing the touchdown on their last drive. Back here in Champaign, you know, the work week is tough enough. Who needs more drama? Well, Fox Tonight is a full night of what critics are calling 3 of television's best comedies. Don't miss the eagerly anticipated Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, followed by the series premieres of King of the Hill and Malcolm in the Middle, a full hour. It all starts with a classic Simpsons at 7:30, 6:30 Central, right here on Fox. Jim Miller slings it from the 18. And incomplete for John Davis. Second down coming up. I think this is possibly a critical possession to see whether the Eagles can wrest, and I use that with a W, R-E-S-T, the momentum away from Chicago, Moose.
Their offense came out and did what they had to do. They went down and got some points, and you made the great point that the Bears defense held them to a field goal. Now it's Philadelphia's defense's turn. Get a 3-and-out here, get some good field position with your special teams, and get that offense back on the field.
And the Bears have scored on each of those last 3 possessions. Second down and 10. And here is Anthony Thomas. And you know from Ron Pitt's report talking to Jim Johnson that they've got to do a better job of stopping the run, and they did there, a gain of only 1.
Yeah, and you'll see the linebackers are going to come in and fill gaps. And when he talked about stunts, everybody's going to be moving. They are not going to be in the same places they were in their initial lineup, and that causes a lot of problems for the offensive line. One of the change-ups you will see defenses do when an offensive team is running the ball effectively.
3rd down and 9. Jim Johnson, a crusty, hardened football veteran. Here's Miller getting a rush from behind, and down he goes. Blaine Bishop, and that is the first sack of the game, and it comes from the secondary. And you know, Jim Johnson will send anyone from anywhere to get the quarterback.
And in this situation, you've got 2 defensive backs coming from the outside. Right here. Here they come. The linebacker is pulling out. The offensive line got caught up watching him. And here comes Blaine Bishop unblocked from the outside. I think the reason that Jim Johnson is so successful, one of the real keys you see is a lot of his guys come scot-free in their blitz packages to the quarterback.
Loss of 5 sends Brad Maynard back, and a low but returnable kick for Mitchell, Brian Mitchell, and he will give the Eagles terrific field position as he brings the return back inside the Bear 40-yard line. 9:04 to go in the 3rd. Eagles down but 3, and they're sitting pretty right now. There's tight end Fred Baxter, who went on a Chicago radio show this week and criticized John Shoop and the offensive play calling of the team. Bears weren't very happy with that. And he returning to action as Urlacher, always in action, getting the sack for the Bears, and a loss of 6 for Donovan McNabb.
Well, the running backs are responsible for the 2 outside linebackers. I want you to see what happens. Cecil Martin and Deuce Staley both get locked on to Roosevelt Colvin. Look at both of them right there on Roosevelt Colvin. Brian Urlacher comes around the backside with nobody to block. There's no one there to block him. How do you lose number 54 in protection?
Playing a great game defensively for the Bears. 2nd sack for Chicago. 9 tackles to go with it. Dorsey Levens the back, and he goes out as a receiver. Donovan McNabb will find him at the 40-yard line and dives forward to the 33-yard line. Brian Urlacher showing why he may be the best middle linebacker in all of football.
Well, there's a lot of talk about a guy in Baltimore named Ray Lewis, but this guy, I think, is right there with all of them. He goes sideline to sideline. He can chase down quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs. He has an uncanny ability of always being around where the ball is, and he finds his way on blitzes through the open lanes to disrupt the passing game.
Okay, he may be the best healthy middle linebacker in football. 3rd down and 5 for the Eagles. And once again, the Bear defense looking for the stop, and the clock is running down. You saw it on the left. And Donovan McNabb calls the timeout. So the Eagles have used 1 timeout in the 2nd half right here. And we'll be back right here in a moment.
Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37. By Circuit City, we know how you feel. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you. By Cadillac, bold vehicles defying convention. And by Coors Light, it's up and it's good. Coors Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. Rock on.
And the Eagles calling the timeout now, breaking their huddle with 3rd down and 5 on the Bears 33. Quick toss, and if it's caught, it is a 1st down, and apparently it is. Antonio Freeman just gets enough for the 1st down for the Eagles. So they called the timeout, set up the play, and the drive continues.
And it was a nice play, too. They had Mike Green coming on a blitz. He vacates the area. Donovan McNabb finds James Thrash in that area that the blitz just came out of. Mike Brown unable to get there in time to break up that play.
Freeman leading the Eagles with 4 catches for 66 yards. And a 1st down on the 26. Here's Staley. Deuce has not broken one today after a couple of 100-yard games. He does get inside the 25 for a couple.
those are the types of runs that were a big part of those 2 big days that Deuce Staley had. There was nothing real pretty about the majority of those runs, and then all of a sudden he's able to break the one big one that puts him over the top. And it's just nice to see him back at 100%. That bad foot injury he had 2 years ago, he struggled through some nagging injuries last year. Good to see Deuce Staley back at 100%.
Darcy Levens replaces him, and McNabb looking one way, getting chased, and Urlacher putting the rush on, and McNabb smartly getting rid of the ball before taking the sack.
I tell you what, this guy has tremendous closing speed. This is real speed. Take a look at Brian Urlacher. When Donovan McNabb moves, here he comes. He does not have a whole lot of time to make that decision. I like the poise of Donovan McNabb in the pocket, but when you see 54 coming after you, all of a sudden that mind better start working a little bit faster.
3rd down and 8 at the 24. McNabb been hit 12 times, and here he comes back looking for a running room, and McNabb, look at the moves by McNabb. He's not going to get the first down, however. Will be stopped a couple of yards shy, and it was Mike Caldwell, the former Eagle, along with Mike Green from the secondary, that stopped Donovan from getting the sticks.
Well, Greg Blasch has not backed off his theory. He's going to continue to pressure and play man-to-man on the outside. And, Dick, you are absolutely correct. The vision and the running ability that Donovan McNabb has, you can see why he gives people fits when he pulls that ball down.
So now David Akers will try to tie the game up with a 36-yarder. And here is Akers, and the kick is good, and the Eagles have tied the score with a pair of field goals here in the 3rd quarter. With a tie score here, coming up next, the second part of our doubleheader, the 49ers and the Raiders. Jerry Rice going against San Francisco, first time in his career.
Oakland Raiders, one of the hot teams to start the season, have fallen on some tough times recently. Injuries also starting to take their toll there with Phillip Buchanan and Terry Kirby, 2 guys you don't hear a lot about, but very key to the success of the Oakland Raiders.
David Akers set to kick off with 5:42 remaining in the 3rd. Leon Johnson and Ahmad Merritt both back deep for Chicago. Merritt, the return man. And Merritt takes it out to the 23-yard line. 13-13 the score. The Philadelphia Eagles, who have a 2-game lead over the Giants in the NFC East. Their only 2 losses were to AFC teams, Tennessee in the opener and then Jacksonville before their bye week, both on the road. And heat, according to a lot of observers, played a role in the Eagles' demise in those 2 games.
Yeah, both of those football games played in warm, humid conditions, and it seemed to take the toll on the Philadelphia football team as they were lost both of those games.
First down on the 23, bunch formation to the left for Jim Miller. He'll hand off to Leon Johnson, and nothing doing. Hugh Douglas was right there. Anthony Thomas with 52 yards has been the big runner today for the Bears. He's on the sidelines for this series, and Johnson has picked up 18.
And Hugh Douglas was one of the guys that they were concerned about. They were going to try to do everything they could in the running game, but when you've got Marty Booker blocking a defensive end at the point of attack, you're not going to have a whole lot of success running the football there.
Now Anthony Thomas has come back in for Chicago. 2nd down and 8. Miller incomplete to Ahmad Merritt, and coverage by Ike Reese. Well, so far in this 3rd quarter, Darrell, it's been the case of the Eagles has had the momentum, but they've only managed field goals.
Wouldn't you have loved to have been a fly on the wall to hear the speech that Andy Reid gave? And again, Hugh Douglas continues to put pressure on the quarterback, and that allows the defensive backs to have good afternoons when that quarterback can't sit back there and hold the ball. But yeah, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in that locker room to find out what head coach Andy Reid said to get this team back on track, both offensively and defensively, to start this 2nd half.
And there was a movement by James Big Cat Williams on the right side of the line, and
prior to the snap,
Bears will be penalized.
Start offense, number 8, 71. 71, 5-yard penalty.
That's why it's imperative
Third down.
for the Bears not to stop. You heard Dick Duran telling Ron Pitts at the end of that first half, we can't just stop here. We have to follow through, and their offense just can't go into a stone wall right at this point.
No, they've got to continue to do the things well that they did in the first half and eliminate the penalties that they had. I think the game could have been much more advantageous for the Bears had they not stopped themselves or extended Philadelphia's possessions with some key penalties.
Third down and 13. Bears have to get up to their 33-yard line. Tall order, and here's Jim Miller directing traffic, and Miller fires it, and the pass is intercepted by Brian Dawkins, and Dawkins brings it back. So Miller, with an ill-advised pass under pressure, and a flag is down back at the line of scrimmage, and this could be a critical call.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 56, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So Sean Barber with a roughing the passer penalty saves the Bears in this instance.
Wow, this is a huge mistake by Sean Barber right there. And again, you know, he's got his head down, he's committed, he's got to be smart in that situation. But that is a huge mistake by the Philadelphia Eagles defense.
Yeah, I mean, instead of an interception and getting the ball in Bear territory, now the Bears get a first down. On the 35, I'm surprised the crowd isn't a little bit more vocal than they are. First on the 35, and the flip to Thomas. Looking for running room, nothing there. And coming in to make the play, Levon Kirkland, and a loss of 3.
Everybody talks about Levon Kirkland's ability as a run stopper between the tackles, but he shows you right there, even at the size he is right now, still able to move between the hashes and chase some stuff down from the inside out. I wouldn't want to have to run into that guy all afternoon. I'll tell you what, he is a big man playing in the middle.
And the big question, of course, with how he would be on pass coverage, and he was taken out of the Jacksonville game. Eagles weren't happy, neither was he, but now he is fully ensconced again at that position. Second down and 13. Thomas, the running back, out to the right, and the pass to Booker in close. Booker changing direction and slipping on the wet grass, or the wet turf we should say, and it ends up a small gain to the 35.
Well, the speed that this Philadelphia Eagles defense has, that's a very tough play to execute. They are going to be able to chase things down. And one of their guys right there, Corey Simon, reaching back, grabbing the hamstring. Hope that that's nothing serious. Defensive coordinator Jim Johnson said he feels that he is on the verge of having one of those breakout games. He's really started to understand the subtleties of this defensive system. And he says watching him on film, you can see that he's reacting and not thinking anymore as a football player.
Paul Grasmanis has replaced him. 3-man defensive line for the Eagles. And here is Miller. Trapped, gets rid of it, up in the air, and dropping in front, incomplete. So that one was thrown up for grabs after Sean Barber again put the pressure on Jim Miller. So fourth down coming up, and the Bears will punt. The only scoring here in this third quarter, a pair of field goal by David Akers to tie the game at 13. So there's Brian Mitchell, always dangerous, and Brad Maynard, who frankly has not punted that well today. Again, it's low, and there is Mitchell returning for the Eagles to the 40-yard line. So under 3 minutes remaining in this third quarter, that was a 35-yard punt. Donovan McNabb coming back, and he has felt and seen and heard the pressure all day.
He really has, and the Chicago Bears defense has done a really nice job of containing him in the pocket, getting some hits, getting some pressure. But you see, as the plays break down, they have all corralled him in the middle of the football field. They're not allowing that seam in the rush lanes for Donovan McNabb to run through. And you see Brian Urlacher, the main reason they have played a lot of man coverage, and Brian has spied him moving up into the area where the defensive linemen are rushing, so he doesn't have to make an open field tackle on Donovan McNabb.
40-yard line, and taking a shot downfield for Thrash. And well covered by McQuarters. So Jim Miller working on his left hand. Right now, Donovan McNabb is the leading rusher for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's averaged over 7 yards per rush. Jim Miller, who admitted to us that he will feel the pain in his elbow. It's that tendonitis, but they told him when he went to New Haven, Connecticut, you're not going to hurt it any worse by playing with it the rest of the way. This pass overthrown to James Thrash. So Donovan McNabb, not the sharpest he has been so far today.
No, he has not gotten off and gotten into any type of rhythm. And you can see right there, he knows he should have completed that pass, and he's upset with himself. And those are the opportunities that you have to have. That puts you into a third down situation of 4 to 6, which is a much better position to be in. It opens your playbook. He knows he missed an opportunity there.
3rd down and 10, and here comes the blitz from the Bears, and they nearly get to McNabb. McNabb now looking to ad-lib something, and he fires it, and it is ruled a catch. And close to the first down, Chad Lewis, the tight end, and very close to the first down sticks. And they're going to measurement. They're going to have a measurement, and Donovan McNabb with a tremendous bit of quick thinking on his part.
Well, you can scheme it and do everything you want to try and get to Donovan McNabb, but that is only the first step in the process. Now you've got to get him to the ground, and Mike Green came free on the blitz, and you can't tackle Donovan McNabb high in the pocket. He's just going to shrug you off like he did there and move outside. And you know, we talked to Troy Vincent about the technique on blitzing, and he says, you see they're just a little bit short of the first down. He talked about getting into the pocket area. You've got to come to balance and then go at the waistline of the quarterback. They're so good at making people miss, or in Donovan's case, he's so big and so physical, he will literally just shrug off a defender. Here comes the blitz. It comes clean, and there he goes. He just shrugs him right off and moves out to the right.
So it'll be 4th down and inches. And of course, the first thing you have to watch for is the hard count to try to draw the Bears offside. Right at midfield. 4th down and midfield for the Eagles. The quarterback sneak, 1st down for McNabb and the Eagles. They only needed about the length of a football, and they managed to get it to keep it alive. So the Bears clinging here in this 3rd quarter. They were up 13-7. The Eagles took momentum away, but have only managed 3-pointers.
Well, you can see the confidence that Andy Reid has in his football team right now. That is a 4th down call at midfield, where if they are stopped, all of a sudden he's lost all the momentum he's gained back to the Bears.
1st down at the 49 of Chicago. Deuce Staley cuts back inside, and a good gain of about 5. Right now for a game break, here's James Brown out on the West Coast.
Dick and Darrell, finally Tampa Bay breaking out of the offensive doldrums. Take a look at Brad Johnson, pump fake, post pattern by Keyshawn. 2nd touchdown reception of the day for Keyshawn. 3rd of the season. Keyshawn's first 2-touchdown day since December of 2031-10. Back to Dick and Darrell.
Bucks trying to go to 7-2, and with the Saints on a bye week would take over the lead in the NFC South. And here is Deuce Staley, and Staley running right into the rookie Alex Brown for a 2-yard gain. Under a minute remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Alex Brown continuing to play well after that great start last week, getting his first opportunity to start. And he is a very, very athletic defensive end, moving down the line of scrimmage, very good at pressuring the quarterback. And I think the Bears have found a nice future there with Alex Brown at the defensive end position.
And holding Staley to 2.5 yards per carry. Eagles dominating the ball control here in this 3rd quarter. 3rd down and 4. McNabb looking to run, and McNabb close to it and short of it. McNabb was stopped. Mike Caldwell, his former teammate, puts the clamps on as the clock runs down, and getting close to the end of this 3rd quarter. So 4th down, and Caldwell does the job at preventing McNabb from getting the 1st down, and the Eagles will punt. And this punt will take place in the 4th quarter.
That is the end.
And that is the end of the third quarter with the score. The Eagles and the Bears knotted up at 13. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a word from your local Fox stations. Will be kicking, and the one thing Landeta has been proficient at is keeping the ball inside the 20, kicking it inside the 20. Leon Johnson is back deep, and this is a matter of a good touch for a kicker. Landeta's kick a little bit too far and it go into the end zone for the touchback, so that'll be a plus for the Bears. Well, the third quarter wasn't kind to them. They had the ball 6 minutes less time than the Eagles.
Drive by Sprint, introducing PCS Vision, clearly a whole new way to look at wireless. By Miller Lite, life is best told at a place called Miller Time. And by Burger King, now for a limited time, get the new Extreme Bacon and Cheese Whopper at Burger King.
The Chicago Bears trying to end a 5-game losing streak against the team that ended their playoff hopes last year, the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Eagles have all they can handle from the Bears defense today, and now the Bears offense going to work. First down on their own 20 in the opening minute here of this fourth quarter. Jim Miller double covered up the middle to the tight end, incomplete. Right now, here's James Brown for a game break.
Well, take a look. Minnesota trying its best to undo the big hole they were in. A 1-yard run by Mo Williams, narrowing the gap, 31-17. Tampa Bay still on top, though. Late in the third, back to Dick, Dara, and Ron.
And the Minnesota Vikings, Moose, trying to make it to 2 in a row after an impressive win over the Bears.
They looked really, really good on film watching the Bears-Vikings game last week.
And a bobble and a loose ball. Des White with the pitch in the backfield, and the Eagles recover. Des White could not hold on, and a big error by the Chicago Bears offense, the last thing that they could afford. And Dick Geron sees a turnover, giving the Eagles a golden chance to take the lead.
One of the things the Bears were so good at last year was not making mistakes. And right here, Des White just takes his eye off the ball on the toss. A critical turnover deep in their end at this point of the game. They didn't do these type of things last year when they got off to that great start and finished at 13-3.
And look at that Eagle defense coming off the field. And let's see if that is the spark that really drives Philadelphia. Remember what Andy Reid said, you know, a good team might find a way to lose a game like this against a team you're favored over. A great team would win it. And so the Eagles, who have had a huge edge in field position in this game, will have a first down on the, and that's in the half that we showed you, a first down on the Bears 18. And here is the fake end around and the pass to Cecil Martin, and the Eagle fullback with his first touch of the game, getting 4.
But as well as they have played, taking advantage of that field position in this half, they have kicked 2 field goals. They have got to start scoring touchdowns to get some separation from this Bears team. The longer you let a team that's struggling stay in the football game, the worse it's going to be for you when you get into the fourth quarter.
No question about it. In fact, here's an instance that if the Eagles have to settle for a field goal, that could give momentum back to Chicago. Second down and 6 from the 14. And the end around to Thrash. Here's James Thrash, and Jerry Azuma gets to it first, and then following suit, Alex Brown, but the pickup is 5 yards. And it's short of the first down by about a yard.
And this looked like a really nice play from up in the booth, but again, it's that speed and the pursuit of the Chicago defense. Jerry Azuma does a nice job being out there all by himself, buying himself a little bit of time until the pursuit from the inside can get there to help.
Big third down now as the Bears try to hold yet again. And looking to the sideline and finally calling a timeout is Donovan McNabb. So the Eagles now with only 1 timeout left. But, you know, if you're going to call a timeout, this is a pivotal play to do it on. We'll be back.
I thought he was going to go for it on 4th down.
You and a lot of Eagle viewers, I'm sure, are home saying, come on, go for it.
Well, you know, in that situation, it's 3rd down. You try something that you wouldn't think, you know, the defense, you're going to catch them off guard and maybe you have a chance for the touchdown. But with that thought process, is, I'm going to go for it on 4th down if you stop me.
Well, they can take the lead with this 27-yard field goal. David Akers hardly ever misses and doesn't here. And the Eagles now with a 16-13 lead early in the 4th. There's always a tickle in their humor when they even criticize their loved teams. So the Eagles leading for the 2nd time in the game.
They poke fun, but they really do love their sports teams in the city of Chicago. And it's a nice way to have a little bit of a laugh.
Yeah, they are very savvy, these fans. And the return by Ahmad Merritt for the Bears, and Merritt breaks one outside and finally down short of the 30-yard line by Lito Shepherd. So Jim Miller going back to work, this time trailing.
And the Niners, Gannon and the Raiders. Fox NFL Sunday next. Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Saturn, makers of the View, redesigned L Series, and the all-new Ion.
In case you're wondering, that is not the moon. It's just a light at the end of a post. All right, the Eagles leading the Bears by 3. The Bears minus 4 yards this half. So they know they've got to get their offense going against a very strong defensive unit, and Anthony Thomas starts it and picks up 1 yard. Thomas has been the leading rusher for the Bears today, gaining 50 yards on 14 carries.
And what they were doing in the first half that they haven't done here in the second half is run the ball effectively. And that is what is necessary for this offense to perform at the level it did last year. They came out and did a nice job in the first half, but they have really struggled the second half trying to get this run game back on course.
And they shouldn't abandon the running game, because they're only down by 3 points with a lot of time to go. As you see the total yardage down to -3. And here is Miller, and Miller dumps it off to Anthony Thomas. Thomas slips and is stopped at the 35-yard line. He'll be short of the first down by about 3.5 as we send it down to Ron Pitts.
Well, guys, one thing that won't help the Bears running game, the loss of a fullback, Damon Shelton, their starter. He injured his ankle earlier in the first half, tried to go on it. He is out with a sprained ankle. Stanley Pritchett, number 36, he will be in as the starter. Let's see how that affects Anthony Thomas as he runs in front of him to block.
All right, Ron, thanks very much. Of course, Stanley Pritchett has already contributed in this game, has played well as a receiver as well as a blocker.
Yeah, I think that he is considered a receiving fullback, but we saw Stanley Pritchett with a nice lead block on Anthony Thomas's first touchdown. He's a very effective blocker also.
I guarantee Cincinnati will beat Houston. Anyway, 3rd down and 3, and Jim Miller gets buried back at the 30 by Hugh Douglas. And so for the Eagles, they've got a sack from the secondary and one from their second leading pass rusher, Hugh Douglas. Loss of 5.
Well, they ran a little bit of a play-action boot here, but Jim Miller did not get far enough off the line of scrimmage, and we see a little bit of a mix-up in the protection on the backside with a little twist between the tackle and the defensive end, and Hugh Douglas came free for the sack.
So Brian Mitchell back, and Brad Maynard will be punting for the Chicago Bears, who have to have some serious concerns about their offense if they're to come back in the game. Mitchell from the 30-yard line looking to give the Eagles another good field position story, and he does, bringing it back to midfield. A 22-yard punt return for Brian Mitchell, and the Eagles will get the ball at midfield and a 3-point lead.
Well, that sign right there, I think at the end of that you have to add, does Walter will always be #1 in our hearts. And I think a lot of people, but I was there last week to watch Emmitt Smith surpass Walter Payton as now the NFL's new all-time leading rusher. A special moment for all Cowboy fans, myself personally. But yeah, Walter Payton was a very special guy, but we've got another special guy who's the new rushing champion.
From the 49-yard line, here's Donovan McNabb throwing, and the pass is caught by Lewis out of bounds. And I want to congratulate you, not only for the great job you did in paving the way for Emmitt Smith becoming the all-time leading rusher with your play in a career, but the way you handled it last week, being on the sideline. It was certainly an emotional and heartfelt moment, sincere on both parts, and You know, I wish I kind of been there with you just watching you two guys.
It was amazing. It was a lot more emotional than I ever could have thought it would have been, and it was probably going to end up being one of the fondest memories I'll ever have as a player in the NFL.
Second down, Deuce Staley, and he has the first down inside the 40-yard line. Alfonso Boone making the stop after a 4-yard pickup. So Donovan McNabb trying to lead the Eagles to a victory, and McNabb has receipt.
Bobby Howard on the blitz right there. Cecil Martin does a nice job of coming off and picking him up. One of the reasons I think you always need a fullback in your backfield, because they pick up that loose guy that comes free to give your running back a chance.
First down at the 38-yard line. And here is McNabb, and a flag is down. And once again, Chad Lewis on the far sideline, knocked out of bounds after what would be a 7-yard pickup, pending the penalty. And it'll be a hold against the Bears. They have been really hit with the many defensive penalties today, which have kept Eagle drives alive.
Illegal hands to the face. Defense, number 97. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
There it is right there. Christian Peter getting his hand up underneath the face mask of John Welborn. And your hand slips up there every once in a while, but you've got to pull it away as soon as you feel that you're in that area. The officials are going to call that one.
There, the penalties, 17 in all, 11 against the Bears, as Deuce Staley on first down is knocked back by Brian Urlacher in a loss of 3 yards. I started to talk about Donovan McNabb, and you talk about a guy who's just 25 years old who was elected as a member of his alma mater's Board of Trustees. Syracuse University Board of Trustees held a meeting, and Donovan McNabb, the youngest for sure member of the trustees, and as alums of that school, we're very proud of Donovan.
Well, I think it's great to have a person of Donovan's station in life, his perspective on what he would like the university to become, and all the students that will be going there for the future.
Second down and 13. And the pass thrown underneath, complete to Chad Lewis. I'd like to see the football team have some more victories. And right now, for a game break, let's check in with James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick and Darrell and Ron, we may be seeing a lot more of this guy right here. Troy Hamburg up the gut 3 yards, capping a 12-play, 80-yard drive. His first touchdown of the season, and Dallas on top by 1 in what is an ugly game. Dick, Darrell, and Ron.
Low scoring, but you know, you get the win, and it's going to be huge for whomever gets it in Detroit. And the pass on third down, close to the sticks to Thrash. He caught it, stayed in bounds, but he does not get the first. He's about a yard shy.
A nice job at the end of that catch by James Thrash. He had to go down and pull it out of the turf, and as he rolls towards the sideline, he tries to stretch it forward towards the marker. Watch here. He goes down, digs it up, he's rolling. Now watch the stretch right there, but he had already rolled out of bounds.
So fourth down coming up, and here again is another look at that play. And I wonder if the Bears want to challenge that catch. Apparently not. 4th and 1, and the Eagles will go for it on the 24 of the Bears. So this becomes a huge play, and the pitch to Deuce Staley, and Staley is hit, and I don't think he has it. Great pursuit by the Bears, and it is led by Philip Daniels and Bobby Howard, and the Bears have held on 4th down and take over on downs.
Well, they talked about running between the tackles to negate the speed of Brian Urlacher, and look at the guy who's at the bottom of that pile doing everything he can. Number 54 coming from the inside out. Here he comes. I tell you, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, and on 4th and 1, you better have a lot of confidence in your run game to run a toss, crack, sweep with a guy like 54 in the middle.
So a great defensive stop by the Bears, and now the question before the house is, what will the offense do? They have been invisible here in this entire second half. 3-point lead for the Eagles, 8:08 to go in regulation. Miller with the pitch to Anthony Thomas. And once again, the Eagles are there. And a terrific play by Levon Kirkland, and dropping Thomas for a loss of 3.
And the reason that the Bears wanted to run on the perimeter was because they felt they could get to the outside and take advantage of number 93's size. But that is the second or third time this afternoon that Levon Kirkland has run down Anthony Thomas from the inside out.
The Eagles took over momentum early in the third quarter. 3 field goals has given them the lead, and now their defense trying to take it over now to wrap it up. 2nd and 13. Very tough team to score against. And the fake handoff, Miller finds an open Thomas out of the backfield, and a good cut upfield by Anthony Thomas, and he's close to the first down and may have it. The miss was Sean Barber, the linebacker, and finally Thomas getting close to the sticks, and we may have a measurement to see whether the Bears get a first down. No need of the measurement. They have it.
One of the things Jim Miller talked about was knowing where his hots and his checkdowns were during the course of the football game today because of the pressure that he expected from Philadelphia's defense. Right there when everything was covered downfield, a nice job of coming back to Anthony Thomas, who was his checkdown receiver in that situation.
Bears are 2-3 this year in games decided by 7 or less. They won them all last year in those tight games. And a first down. And here is Miller. Miller has an open receiver, and he drops the ball. Marty Booker, and in all fairness, had to be turned around, but he had beaten his defender, and that would have been a huge gain for Chicago.
Nice play action fake in the backfield, gets everybody's attention. You can see Marty Booker get behind everybody. I tell you what, I'll take Marty Booker in that position. He will make that catch 9 out of 10 times. That is very uncharacteristic.
So a drop ball at an opportune time, I think is the word, and that'll bring up 2nd down and 10. 6:42 remaining in the fourth quarter. Another play fake, and Miller overthrows John Davis, his tight end. So John Shoop dialing up the offenses here, and the 3rd down and 10. You can see that the Eagles outgaining the Bears 80-13 this half, and they need 10 yards, and that's in the passing department.
Their passing game is dependent upon running the football well. Their best passes are their play action passes, and when you can't run the ball effectively, you lose your respect for the run game, and you get back into coverages to take away the tight end, to take away the receivers downfield. You have no regard for that play fake in the backfield.
3rd down and 10. Here comes the rush on Miller, and throws nobody home. Des White was the closest receiver. So 4th down coming up with 6:33 to go, and the Bears will have to kick. They had a big opportunity, and the pass wasn't perfect, but Marty Booker could not hold on. And now the Bears have to rely on their defense again. And the Philadelphia Eagles, talk about McNabb, you talk about the improved running game. Jim Johnson's defense.
They have been the difference this afternoon in both defenses, and now the Chicago Bears defense is going to have to go back out on the field and make another big stop here in the fourth quarter.
Maynard's punt will be down at the 32-yard line. Now the Bears are claiming that the Eagles had lost the ball, and so there's a scrum going on there.
I tell you what, Al Harris is so lucky to get away from that right there, because he has no reason to be around that football doing that type of play right there. He is so fortunate that he did not land on that football, and that's what the Bears were claiming. When that ball is on the ground, moving around, get away from the football.
The ball was illegally touched first by the kicking team. First down, receiving team.
Somebody has got to alert Al Harris that he is near the football right there. He is so fortunate that either Todd McMillan or Brian Knight touches this football first. There's no reason for Al Harris to be in that situation right there. If Brian Knight does not go in and recover that football, it's going to hit Al Harris, and it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Chicago Bears.
Eagles on the 31-yard line, 1st down, 6:22 to go, and here is a fade to Thrash, and the pass, they're going to throw the flag there. R.W. McQuarters, boy, he has borne the brunt of many of the defensive penalties today called against Chicago. Well, at least they're discussing it. Pass interference. First down.
Pass interference. Defense, number 21. Automatic first down.
That's about as animated as you will see Dick Duran on the sideline, and that shows you the point of frustration he has got to with some of these calls. R.W. McQuarters, he's just puts his arm up. Now, people are going to say he's got to turn his head and make a play on the football, but there have been a lot of touch calls this afternoon.
And a lot of late calls this afternoon by the officials on many of them. First down for the Eagles on their 47-yard line. Here is McNabb going deep to the other side, and is caught by Pinkston in stride and out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. A 39-yard strike, and another flag is down at the 35 of the Bears.
Pass interference, defense, number 23, penalties decline, first down.
Jerry Azuma, they decline it, first down on a big play.
See right there, it's you know, maybe illegal contact, but I don't see pass interference on that play. I think right now the officials are calling this game much too tight. On the outside, you have got to allow these guys to play football, and we've seen way too many touch calls during the course of the afternoon in the illegal contacts, in the pass interference type penalties. It takes away from the aggressive style of play that both these defenses like to do.
First down at the 14 for the Eagles. Trying to put some daylight between them and the Bears, and Deuce Staley on the carry, and a good ankle tackle made by Christian Peter.
The most important thing on this possession for the Philadelphia Eagles is to come away with a touchdown. They have gotten into the red zone and been forced to kick field goals. If this Bear defense can hold them one more time, we are still within 6 points. The Bears only need a touchdown to take the lead. That would be a huge show by this defense that has been asked to do this all afternoon.
James Thrash lining up in the backfield, going in motion. An empty backfield now, and the pass thrown underneath and caught by Thrash. He gets now down to the 7-yard line. Pickup of 6. Reggie Austin making the tackle for the Bears as the clock runs, under 5 minutes remaining in the fourth. Eagles looking to open up a 10-point lead. They have dominated in this second half, sparked by their impenetrable defense. 3rd and 3. And here's McNabb. Pass is caught, and slipping is Mitchell. Freddie Mitchell with his first catch of the game, close to the first down marker.
Andy Reid's going to have another one of these tough decisions. Again, the Bears defense, as David Akers comes onto the field, have held the Philadelphia offense inside the red zone to a field goal. As poorly as the Chicago Bears offense has played this half, they are still only one drive away from regaining the lead if David Akers makes his kick.
David Akers, 3 of them today, and all coming in the second half. This will be a 22-yard attempt. And Akers 4 for 4, and it is now 19-13. And now what that field goal does is that makes the Chicago Bears go the length of the field and a touchdown if they're to win this game. Let's take a look at some of the snapshots from today. You know, before television, you'd have to read a newspaper the next day or a magazine, and you see snapshots of the game and get an idea of how it was in the old days. Of course, they used to have black and white television, but thank goodness they have color now. And the Bears trailing by 6.
You're dating yourself with, that comment.
Well, there was a time.
There was
Actually,
a time.
George Hallis remembers that time.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Stadium dedicated 1924.
There was a time, and it was a long time ago.
Well, we're bringing some of that back, you know, with in the game.
Some good pitches today, though.
Yes, there have been, and we have had inclement weather throughout. We had the snow before the game, and then we have had a steady rain throughout it. 3:42 to go. The Eagle defense has been tough in the second half. The kick to Ahmad Merritt. Merritt on the return is tripped up shy of the 25. Well, coming up next, second part of our doubleheader, Terrell Owens and the 49ers take on the Raiders as Jerry Rice will face San Francisco for the first time in his career. Redskins will battle the Seahawks, or the Rams take on the Cardinals. A full day of NFL action continues next on Fox. That Bay Area battle should be a dandy.
Yeah, it really should be, and it's nice to see San Francisco getting some continuity on the offensive side of the ball. Terrell Owens and Jeff Garcia coming off some really, really nice performances last week.
Bears starting from their 25-yard line, trying to solve the Eagle defense. Play action, and Miller rolling out and hitting John Davis, the tight end. Davis getting by one defender and picking up nearly 8 yards on first down. Troy Vincent coming up to make the play. Bears have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Jim Miller, who has missed the last 2 weeks because of injury, coming back today. Bears offense did show some life in the first half, actually scoring a touchdown against this Eagle defense is pretty good accomplishment in its own right. Second down and 2. And here is Thomas, first down, Moore to the 39-yard line, a gain of 6.
Well, you can't have asked your defense to do any better this afternoon than Chicago has done, especially here in the second half under adverse conditions, backed up, short fields by their offense and by field position. Now it's time for the offense to put together this drive at this critical point of the game and try and steal this victory that would really be dependent on what their defense has done this afternoon, not their offense.
First down and 10. Thomas with 86 total yards, including the only touchdown for the Bears. Here is Miller, and he's got out of the backfield Stanley Pritchett, and Pritchett driving 2 Eagles into Philadelphia territory, 14 yards and a first down.
One of the things Jim Miller wanted to see his team do as he came back into the lineup this week was to finish a football game. We've seen the graphic. They're only 2-3 in the games decided by 7 points or less this year. They have had chances, but they haven't been able to finish the football games.
So another ex-Eagle getting the job done. The 2-minute warning will be back. Kasky family, should we hire Dick Duran? We're thinking of it. He said, why not? He's a brilliant coach, a straight shooter, and in Andy Reid's view, the same coach he was last year when they were 13-3. First and 10 in Eagle territory. The screen pass to Anthony Thomas, and Thomas carries inside the 35 for another first down. Brandon Whiting downfield, a big gain of 13.
It has been an absolute exercise in futility this entire second half by this Bears offense, and with the game on the line, they are having their best drive of the afternoon.
40-yard drive thus far after the first 5 drives of the second half netted only 9. Remember, the Bears need the touchdown. Field goal won't help them. Under a half a minute to go, but all 3 timeouts remaining. They're on the 35, and here's Miller with a screen to Booker, and Marty Booker to the 29-yard line will be shy by 4 yards. Brian Dawkins making the play, and the Bears will call their first timeout. Remember, this Eagle defense cares about only one thing: giving up the touchdown, the points, and that's what Jim Johnson's goals are, and they're going to be tougher from here on in.
Yeah, when you look at the foundation of what he believes in, it's all about pressure, and then it's about holding teams to field goals and not letting them score touchdowns. And you saw that graphic right there on the missed tackles. That is where the big plays have come against this Eagles defense this year. They have been in position to be pretty much an error-free team regarding those big plays, but have missed critical tackles.
The work week is tough enough. Who needs more drama? Well, Fox tonight The full night of what critics are calling 3 of television's best comedies. Don't miss the eagerly anticipated Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, followed by the series premieres of King of the Hill and Malcolm in the Middle. A full hour all starts with the classic Simpsons at 7:30, 6:30 Central, right here on Fox. Jim Miller perfect on the drive. 2nd and 4 on the Eagle 30-yard line, and there is the pass underneath to Des White. Diving, but still short of the first down marker. Brian Dawkins putting the clamp on, and now the Bears will call another timeout, leaving them with 1.
There will be a 30-second.
1 timeout left for the Bears with 1:03 to go, and they've got to get it into the end zone. And it's going to be a very difficult task for Dick Jauron's crew. Today's game being produced by Bob Stenner, directed by Sandy Grossman, the associate director Charles McDonald, the broadcast associates Wayne Wilson and Robert Slosby. The technical producer is Bob Muller. The pregame show produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The vice president of studio operations is Jack Simmons, and the senior producer is Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. Chris Visser and Rick Odioso assisting us up here in the booth. Bears have Leon Johnson in their lineup. 3rd down and 1. And it's not so much the first downs, but being able to get close to the goal line. Leon Johnson in the lineup for the Bears, and here is Miller, and Miller's pass incomplete, intended for Marty Booker. So now it is 4th down and 1, and the Bears, of course, will go for it.
The one thing that Jim Miller could not do in that situation was take the sacks. He does not have anybody that is wide open, but he has to get rid of that ball. He can't hold on to that football and force an issue where they could be in a 4th and long situation.
4th down and 1. Well, they in effect took a shot when you consider where they are now. This is the game for the Bears as far as surviving another set of downs. 4th down and 1, and the handoff, and first down for Leon Johnson. He got hit at the line, and then the second effort gives him enough. But the clock is running, under a minute to go. Bears have only 1 timeout remaining. Dick Jauron, knowing the game is on the line. Yes, it's okay. On the 24, first down, play action. Here is Miller, and Miller's going into the end zone, and it's over the head of Des White, who is well covered down there by Al Harris and Blaine Bishop.
It looked as though Des White was open for a second on a corner route. Jim Miller just a little bit long on that throw. I like the decision to save that last timeout. That allows the Chicago Bears the opportunity to take a shot into the middle of the field as they move the ball down towards the goal line to try and get this go-ahead touchdown and be able to stop the clock.
2nd down and 10. Miller up the middle, and it's nearly picked off. Nearly intercepted by Ike Reese. It was intended for John Davis. So the vice narrows now for the Bears. They face 3rd down and 10. There's Andy Reid urging on the defensive unit. 3rd down and 10 on the 24-yard line. Clock is down to 25 seconds and still 1 timeout left. Brian Urlacher's probably said, send me in. I've scored before.
There's not much more that that guy could do this afternoon to have a position, to be in position to win this football game right now.
Bears 1 for 10 on 3rd down conversions. And here comes the blitz, and Miller is down back at the 35-yard line. Hugh Douglas came in virtually untouched, and the big sack will send the Bears into 4th down as they use their 3rd and final timeout.
Well, they're attacking the middle. They've got everybody coming up here. That allows Hugh Douglas to come unblocked. There was a miscommunication between the tackle and the running back. One guy has to block down to take Hugh Douglas. The other guy has to go out on the end of the line. They both looked outside, and Hugh Douglas came unblocked to Jim Miller.
That is the second sack of the game for Hugh Douglas, and a huge one as the Bears using their final timeout. 4th down coming up, and to talk about first downs, they've got to get inside the 15-yard line, but more imposing is the fact that only 17 seconds remain.
Well, it's only fitting that the Philadelphia Eagles defense would be the unit that is on the field this afternoon with the game on the line. They have played extremely well. They've forced this position right here with the 4th and 19. And I can't say enough about how well they have played this season. There has been knocks on them about being undersized, about teams being able to handle their pressure, questions in the secondary, but nobody seems to be able to beat them.
4th down and 19. And here is Jim Miller stepping up, and he's going for Demarcus Robinson. Incomplete, thrown out of the end zone, and the Eagles will take over on downs and will win the game. So you know, I still don't know whether the Eagles are a great team. I think we got to wait a while for that, but I'll tell you what, they withstood a furious battle by a team that was wounded, 2-5 on the year, that barely needed a win today, and their defense bailed them out.
I think they're in between a good team and a great team right now. They did what they had to do to win this football game today, but by no means did they come out and play to their potential against a team, as you put it, Dick, that is struggling, trying to find its identity, and they just were able to eke out a victory.
There are the critical snaps of the game.
There's the pass interference call on R.W. McQuarters. Shortly after that, Donovan McNabb goes in for a touchdown. The fumble by Des White right there, deep in Chicago Bears end. And then right here, the drop by Marty Booker. That would have been a big play on the previous drive, but all day long it was the Bears not doing what they had to do.
And the Eagles win on a day that Donovan McNabb is not nearly as his sharpest. So this is Dick Stockton for Darryl Johnson and Ron Pitts saying so long from Memorial Stadium. Final score, the Eagles 19, the Bears 13. Second half of our doubleheader coming up next. Right after these messages, for more information on today's game and the latest NFL news, log on to foxsports.com, the official sports site of the internet. So long, everybody.